questions. One of the things that people don't realize is that when attorneys get to do oral arguments before a court, the court cuts you off. You spend all that time prepping what you're going to talk about, being able to prepare for the answers to the questions they told you should be ready to answer. They've limited you in their order and said, don't go outside this scope. And as soon as you get there, ready to answer the questions they told you to be prepared to answer, they ask you something that they told you not to talk about. That was my experience.
And not only that, ask you the same question over
and over.
And over.
And over again.
Well, what do you think about those Falcons? How do you like those Falcons? Do you think those Falcons are doing good?
Yeah. So what if those Falcons don't win? Then they play again next week, Judge. So what if there's no game next week? Yeah. Then they play the next week after that.
So what do you think?
So what if the
Falcons?
Season ends? Then they wait till the next season, Judge.
So how do you feel about those Falcons?
Essentially.
Do you like those Falcons?
No. So if the Falcons were up and the time expired,
does that mean they win?
No, Judge. If it expired, it expired.
Well, how did the Falcons win?
Well, why would it expire?
Exactly.
Idiot, because you asked me. You just told me it expired.
You told me to come here and explain why the Falcons logo is a falcon.
And we talking about how they winning. You asked me about You told me to come here and tell me about the Dallas Cowboys.
Now you asking me about the Braves. You didn't tell me nothing to be prepared about the Braves.
You said no other team.
I do. I that's the one thing that I disliked about my experience. And then the sad part is they were cutting you off. They wouldn't, because I argued before the Supreme Court of Georgia. Mm-hmm. And they were cutting me off. They wouldn't allow me to answer the questions they told me to be prepared to answer. They would ask me questions, and when I knocked it out the park, they would say, well, we know that. But what we're really saying, I'm like, why are you asking me a question? And then the questions you expected them to be able to know from the record, because they assumed that I was a trial counsel based on what I was appealing. And I was like, well, I wasn't a trial counsel. They were like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, so there's ineffective assistance of counsel. And I was like, but I asked y'all to come up on that, and you said no. So you're arguing to me that there's something in the case that would have caused me to win it, and I asked you to let me up on that, and you said no. And then you're going to ask me about it. So it was, the experience wasn't as monumental.
I blame clerks. Clerks do a lot of work in upper courts.
That's true.
And if the clerk isn't on top of it,
that's true,
truly understands what's going on in this case and what
needs
to be decided
it'll mess up
on,
the appeal.
It can change how the court looks at the case that's in front of them.
You can't just say, it looks like you didn't do your homework.
No, you can always say it.
You wish.
You have the freedom of speech to do it, but there's consequences to some of your actions.
Nah, listen, Judge.
Let me tell you something about speech.
All due respect. Did you read?
No. Excuse me.
First of all,
with all due respect.
When has respect ever followed all due respect?
With all due respect.
Excuse me, Justice. With all due respect, and none is due. Did you read?
I know I'm about. This is where you go. I know I'm not about to win this case, so I'm just gonna say it.
And your time is up.
I know. You're done.
Did you?
Am I done or am I finished? Did
Both.
you read? Man, we're gonna report you to the bar.
No,
I'm going to report you.
No, sir. We're gonna need a drink at the bar based on y'all ruling.
I'm reporting you.
Don't worry, we lost your connection.
Welcome to another episode of Diva Court. I'm your host, Marcia Mignot, and with me is my co-diva.
Celebrating the death of democracy.
It's dying slowly. Can y'all see the funeral outfit she's wearing?
Pray for us.
We are not responsible for what she's going to talk about because she's having a funeral today.
Yes. Shout out to the Democrats. Your time has come to an end.
She is having a ceremony, Democrats. It's a funeral ceremony. She is going to bury all your candidates.
Dig a ditch.
We're not responsible for the topics we're going to talk about, nor do we own them. We're not going to buy them, listeners, because we're not interested. This show is for edutainment purposes only. Please look for our episodes every Wednesday. We find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Be sure to catch our videos every Wednesday on YouTube, because that's where we push them out for you. This episode is sponsored by Cutie Nails and Spa in Midtown. Cutie Nails and Spa is offering manicures.
I don't have one today. I got these gloves.
No, you could have one under the glove.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Pedicures. You could have one in your shoe.
Yeah, my shoes. I'm just not celebrating.
Facials.
I could have one under this mask.
And lashes. Enjoy a spa experience at Cutie Nails and Spa and let a team of cuties take care of you. All right, so you got your rainbow on time today.
I did.
Producers
About
are at
time.
work. Oh my
My
word.
gosh.
Okay, listeners, former Clayton County Sheriff Victor Hill has been convicted in federal court here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm disappointed. He was convicted on 6 of 7 counts of violating the constitutional rights of inmates at his jail, although he never touched any of the inmates.
So it's just another black man going down.
I agree. I think I've seen enough stories about white sheriffs across this country doing things like in Texas, putting them in pink panties and all kinds of shenanigans. And that one was pardoned by Donald Trump.
Oh, so he was convicted, though.
I think he was convicted because I think Donald Trump pardoned him.
So maybe Joe Biden wouldn't pardon.
Victor Hill? I think we need to get
So
a
wait,
petition
this
together.
is not a civil case. This is a criminal case.
This is a criminal case.
Oh,
I've never heard of one person being held responsible for somebody else's criminal act. But they said because he's the leader of the sheriff's department in Clayton County, that the acts of his employees were his responsibility. So his employees strapped some of the inmates down, and according to the jurors and the prosecutor in this case, that Victor Hill is the person who should be held accountable.
So was there a conspiracy charge or something? Like,
oh, you talking about like the one man Rico?
like, so if I tell you, is there a difference between me telling you, go kill him, and you kill him, then do I get charged with the crime? Is that the difference between, or me saying, you better go spank that baby, and you spank the baby, do I get charged with child abuse?
According to this, yes.
But is that like the law?
According to the feds, yes.
But
That's funny. You sound like Darrell Brooks. Darrell Brooks was convicted of the parade massacre. Remember the person who drove their car into the Christmas parade? And he kept asking the judge during the proceedings, Judge, is that law for law? Every time the judge made a
wasn't
ruling,
he doing good?
he said, Judge, is that law for law? I mean, come on now. Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Okay.
So the man was right on some of his objections because he held up a sign, no trial objection. How could you not be right at least once?
Right.
If you holding up your objection.
Sir, what's your objection?
Objection, because I can object. Wrong. That's not lawful law.
Yeah, I think the key narrative is not only did he not do it personally, he was not in
proximity.
the presence or proximity of any of these charges.
So you could be at home and you're the sheriff and you're off day. Some of your employees tie up an inmate. In fact, the allegation was that one of the inmates tried to escape. And they were like, okay, so this is what you want to do? We're going to tie you down. Mm-hmm. So I'm confused as to why the feds thought that this was a good case. What I find very interesting is, though, the juror that was hanging the jury verdict succumbed to the pressure because the foreman kept going to the judge as if the foreman was saying, I can't get him to convict. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, foremen are responsible for informing the judge when they cannot reach a verdict. But a foreman's job in a deliberation is not to bully another juror into a decision. And they spoke to this juror afterwards. The media did. And the juror was saying it was just a horrible experience.
So did the defense attorneys, mention that or file a motion with the judge to
Well, they're
vacate
going to
the
file an
sentence?
appeal, and on appeal,
So why are we not filing a motion before we even?
yeah, you're going to file a motion for new trial, but that's standard.
No, I'm saying like a motion to vacate the, to vacate the jury's
That's the same
decision.
thing. Once you get a jury verdict, you'll file a motion for new trial. The motion for new trial is granted, then you'll get another trial before the exact same judge. The problem is motions for new trial are filed with the actual court where the case was originally tried.
Right.
So how likely is a judge who probably wanted you to be convicted to grant you a motion for new trial? It would have to be some egregious stuff that occurred that the judge would be like.
Because I was thinking like you could do judge, we want to vacate the jury's decision and we want a motion for direct verdict or something like that.
Well, you move for directed verdict after the prosecution rests their case, and that gets denied because there's enough evidence that the judge thinks that a jury could make a decision based on the facts, the evidence, and the law.
Okay.
So their directed verdict probably was denied. I don't see an attorney not moving for that. That's standard. That's elementary. That's something you do.
That's like part of the
that's
process.
part of the process. You have to move for directed verdict. If you don't, that's ineffective assistance of counsel.
Okay.
But after the trial and after the conviction, you get to file a motion for new trial. And if the judge grants the motion for new trial based on jury misconduct, then you try the case again.
So why wouldn't double jeopardy be attached? Like, let's say the judge is like, yeah, this jury did the wrong thing. Why wouldn't double jeopardy be attached and he just get off?
Because jeopardy attaches at trial. However, if there's constitutional rights violations, you get a do-over. You don't just get a complete acquittal. Now, there are situations where you can get an acquittal on appeal. So like how Bill Cosby went up on appeal and his conviction was overturned. There was no remand of the case back to the trial court to try Bill Cosby again.
So if a trial starts and if the trial begins, how does that double jeopardy apply? Like, what would a prosecutor have to do to where they can't retry it?
Okay, so you get a not guilty verdict. Prosecutor can't say,
Okay, so
I want to retry that
But what
case.
if...
So the defendant gets to appeal a conviction, but the prosecutor does not get to appeal a not guilty.
Outside of a not guilty verdict, is there any way that double jeopardy can be attached?
Double jeopardy always attaches when the jury is sworn or when the first witness is called in a bench trial. So jeopardy attaches. What the trial court does on the motion for new trial and what the appellate court does.
No, that's not my question. My question is, like, let's say we don't even get to the jury going to deliberate. Mm-hmm. So when double jeopardy attaches, right, is there something else outside of the jury saying not guilty that can stop the trial from happening, and then double jeopardy attaches and they get off?
Yes, there's only one thing can happen.
Okay.
A judge has to grant a defendant's attorneys directed verdict.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So if after the state says we've put up everything we have as it pertains to evidence, and they rest, and state rests and sit down, then the defense counsel gets up and move for a directed verdict. The argument is always the state has not proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt. There's not enough evidence to be taken to a jury. When you look at the indictment, there's no way a jury can make a decision on this because there's no factual evidence or no evidence at all that would meet the statutory requirement to get a conviction.
Is there anything like crazy could happen where, new evidence comes about where like the prosecutor is like, well, we need more time for our case. Can we get a continuance? And we need
No, not in the middle of a trial. Once the jury is sworn, game over.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you can find additional charges. That's what people don't understand is that.
what if, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but what if like the prosecutor wants to like put the case. So what if the prosecutor eventually knows they don't have enough evidence and they want to put the case, they can't put the case on hold?
Usually they don't put the case up.
They won't.
You understand?
Okay.
But a lot of times if they have a statute of limitations, they don't have a choice. They have to go up. That's why
they always wait till the last minute.
when they put up a murder case, you're like, why are you putting it up if you don't have a body or if you don't have enough evidence? That doesn't even make any sense because you don't have a statute of limitations on that. You can wait till DNA evidence, changes or technology changes where you can now test things that you couldn't test before. And that's why you can find that they can find a suspect now based on, people going to do their ancestry and they find a cousin and they've had the semen or the specimen for years preserved. And now they just need the technology to test it, and they can test it, and now they can make the connection to who the suspect is as it pertains to a criminal case.
Not to be going down the rabbit hole, but
you like rabbits.
I know. Do you have any rights with the ancestry DNA where the government can't just take it and test it?
Well, the person giving the DNA is not usually the person who does not want it tested. So I would have to ban you as my sister from going to Ancestry, because now when they pull
well, what if they knew that somehow they came about the information that I went through Ancestry and they think I'm a suspect? Can they just file a subpoena and say, hey, did this person ever go through Ancestry to try to get my DNA through that?
Yeah, they can file the request with the courts. Usually. Because you have to ask the court.
I don't have any type of privacy.
So
usually
when you sign up for those, you're waiving it. And not only that, those data banks are sending it to a general anonymous pool to get pulled and tested against. So they don't know your name. They don't know any of that stuff until they have a match. And when they have a match, they know that the person that they're looking for is like your cousin, is related to you somehow by cousin. So they'll start going through those avenues of investigation, but you sign away those rights as soon as you spit in that tube.
That's why you don't do your DNA test.
You don't give them a reason.
You gotta tell your family members to stop too.
That's
I'm trying to find your ancestor. You was a slave.
Why you trying to tell?
Your mama was a slave.
Why
your
you
was a
asking
slave.
the slave master to tell you where he stole you from?
So back to
and you're paying him.
They steal you away for free.
That's really the worst part.
Then you pay them to tell you where you be.
You shouldn't have to pay.
You stole me. You used me for free labor, and then you charged me to tell me where you stole me from.
It's called
my people.
Reunited, and it feels
so bad.
So one of the interesting part is some of the inconsistent testimony of some of the former jail detainees. One was cross-examined that he told the FBI he had been knocked unconscious as they tried to arrest him, but then in court said, no, I faked
the unconscious.
Yeah.
Wow. So you have credibility issues as it pertains to your alleged victims.
So that's what he'll testify to. He testified to the fact that anybody,
and he's telling the truth because he said that the restraint chairs can be used as a protective measure, and some of the people who were detained had a history of violence. So I don't know what sheriff you can say if the person is flailing, jumping around.
How do you get sent to
them.
jail for doing your job?
That's sad. That is sad.
It is interesting because it's not the first, I would say, attempt to remove him from that position.
The politics called him.
But the people keep electing him there, and I think it's for a reason. He's a
good sheriff.
He's a good sheriff.
Yeah.
And he keeps a clean jail.
And he ain't on crack like Marion Barry.
That's true.
And I think
they just don't like the fact that he's not succumbing to pressure. Like, you can't control him. He is going to run his jail the way he deems fit.
They don't like when a black man
is confident, because he's a confident black man.
Or a little
what are you
out
talking
of control.
about? They love Muhammad Ali.
No,
Herschel
no.
Walker.
They did not love Muhammad Ali.
They
loved him when he was
Walker.
old and rattling. Okay?
Like they like Herschel Walker.
Yeah, just like that.
They like him like that.
Correct. So we can control
They
it.
don't like him talking.
No.
You can be crazy, but just be talking on our side.
That's it.
That's all you can do.
Say that white lives matter.
White lives matter.
And stop right there.
Wasn't no lies told.
You stop right there because there's no other ones. Don't you? It's funny because Chris Rock did a comedy one time and it was like, God bless America.
Lies that matter.
No, you remember Chris Rock said, God bless America and nowhere else. You don't remember that movie? I think it was called President or something like that. But it was
president.
It was funny. It was funny.
That
It was a
makes
comedy.
sense.
All right. So I can't believe Victor Hill got convicted. I believe this conviction will be overturned. And the reason is because 1, sounds like the evidence was inconsistent. 2, it sounds like a jury problems where the juror was coerced. And remember, one of the things that is required of a jury is that each individual juror made their decision for
On their own
themselves.
accord.
Correct. You cannot be coerced into it. You cannot be bullied into it. So
And then when you go on the news and testify,
Yeah.
say it was so unpleasant.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That's going to come back because I can see him now testifying at a motion for new trial, and you can get what occurred in there. In there meaning in the jury deliberation.
Don't you want to go home? Aren't you ready to go home? Just say yes.
You're misinterpreting the law. So now you have
That was the interesting part. I'm sorry to interrupt you. What foreman is going to
knows
come
the
in
law
here and say, "Oh, he misinterpreted the law to the judge"?
Yeah.
What? That's not it. If y'all have a misinterpretation, y'all say we just
Please
don't.
give us a
we don't
statute.
agree,
Or we can't reach an
just give us
agreement.
we don't agree.
Or can a legal expert that is the
They already did that.
judge can clarify the law.
The judge
Well,
can't
this-
go any further
no,
than
the-
the paper.
But that's what
paper
I'm
is it.
saying.
That's the paper
And
is
that's
it.
the point. Like,
No, so what
the
it should
word
be is a
says
hang. It
blah,
should have
blah, blah, blah.
It should have been
So
a hung
it's your
jury.
interpretation.
Should have been a hung jury.
That's true.
Because the jurors get to interpret. The judge tells you what the law is, and you apply the facts to the law.
Exactly.
And if he applied the facts to the law and said, "I don't find he was malicious," I was like, "Whoa! Do you realize those are specific intent crimes?" So when a juror is coming out of deliberations and saying, "I voted guilty,"
I don't think anything
I
he did
didn't
was
think he was
malicious.
malicious. I was fighting and they were coercing me and I was bullied into my decision. I just don't see how that's going to stand.
Well, he didn't say that part, but he essentially said it by saying,
Well, you
He
could draw
said,
the, you
I-
could draw
I
the
did
did
not
not
inference.
enjoy this
malicious.
experience."
It was. He said
It was very unpleasant.
Yeah. When you're saying it was an unpleasant experience, and people were saying that you were the holdout, and you were holding out for days until you. Come on now, we know how that deliberation went. And I've had jurors before that were fighting. They were fighting so loud we could hear them in the courtroom.
Sound like me.
Don't you
So-
don't you have one where one of the jurors came back and was like, "I was fighting in there." And I was doing-"
Yeah. Trust me, they fight. They fight. He said,
I wanna-
I had a juror one time that said, "One more minute in there, boy, and it would have been blows." I said, "Really? Fist fighting back there?" Yeah,
I
they.
want to be on a jury so bad.
Oh no, ma'am. They're not gonna let you
That's
do that.
exactly when they strike you.
Yeah,
I'd
they
strike
know.
you just with that.
They can
hat.
smell you so bad.
I'd say this lady.
I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be acting all disinterested.
No, they'd be able to tell.
It's the face. I don't want to be here, but I guess I have to do my
No,
legal duty.
You're gonna have to move to Sandy Springs or Dunwoody. You're gonna have to move to Dunwoody to become a juror.
All right, listeners, the Supreme Court will decide on affirmative action cases this term. There was 5 hours worth of hearing. It's like, whew, that's a long time. And I'm sure it was a bunch of interruptions. One of the things that people don't realize is that when attorneys get to do oral arguments before a court, the court cuts you off. You spend all that time prepping what you're going to talk about, being able to prepare for the answers to the questions they told you should be ready to answer. They've limited you in their order and said, don't go outside this scope. And as soon as you get there, ready to answer the questions they told you to be prepared to answer, they ask you something that they told you not to talk about. That was my experience.
And not only that, ask you the same question over
and over
and over.
and over again.
Well, what do you think about those Falcons? How do you like those Falcons? Do you think those Falcons are doing good?
So what if those Falcons don't win?
you
Then they
think
play again next week, Judge. So what if there's no game next week?
Yeah.
Then they play the next week after that.
So what do you think
So what
about
if the
those
season
Falcons?
ends? Then they wait till the next season, Judge.
So how do you feel about those Falcons?
Essentially.
Do you like those Falcons?
No, so if the Falcons were up and the time expired,
Does that mean they win?
and that,
No, Judge. If it expired, it expired.
Well, how did
why,
the Falcons win?
Well, why
Right,
would it
so-
expire?
exactly.
Idiot, because you asked me. You just told me it expired.
You told me to come here and explain why the Falcons logo is a falcon.
And we talking about how they winning. You asked me about the. You told me to come here and tell me about the Dallas Cowboys.
Now you asking me about the Braves. You didn't tell me nothing to be prepared about the Braves.
You said no other team.
I do. I that's the one thing that I disliked about my experience. And then the sad part is they were cutting you off. They wouldn't, because I argued before the Supreme Court of Georgia. And they were cutting me off. They wouldn't allow me to answer the questions they told me to be prepared to answer. They would ask me questions, and when I knocked it out the park, they would say, well, we know that. But what
So
we're
why
really
you
saying,
ask me that?
yeah, I'm like, why are you asking me a question? And then the questions you expected them to be able to like know from the record, because they assumed that I was a trial counsel based on what I was appealing, and I was like, well, I wasn't a trial counsel. They were like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, so there's ineffective assistance of counsel, and I was like, but I asked y'all to come up on that, and you said no. So you're arguing to me that there's something in the case that would have caused me to win it, and I asked you to let me up on that, and you said no. And then you're going to ask me about it. So it was, the experience wasn't as monumental.
I blame clerks. Clerks do a lot of work in upper courts.
That's true.
And if the clerk isn't on top of it,
That's
and
true.
truly understands what's going on in this case and what
That's
needs
true.
to be decided
It'll mess up
on,
the appeal.
it can change how the court looks at the case that's in front of them.
You can't just say, it looks like you didn't do your homework.
No, you can always say it. But
You wish.
You have
wish.
the freedom of speech to do it, but there's consequences to some of your actions.
Nah, listen, Judge.
Let me tell you something about
all
speech.
due respect. Did you
And
read?
no. Excuse
First
me.
of all,
with
when
all
has
due respect.
when has respect ever followed all due respect?
All due respect.
Excuse me, Justice. With all due respect, and none is due. Did you read?
Like, I know I'm about. This is where you go. I know I'm not about to win this case, so I'm just gonna say it.
And your time is up.
I know. You're done.
Did you?
Am I done or am I finished? Did
Both.
you read? Man, we're gonna report you to the bar.
No.
No, I'm going to report you.
No, sir. We're gonna need a drink at the bar based on y'all ruling.
I'm reporting you.
Don't worry, we lost your connection.
It is to be like no signal.
But I'm in the room.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on? So let's talk about this affirmative action.
So okay.
I can provide you a little more detail. This is taken against the University of North Carolina, and I believe Harvard, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was Harvard.
And basically,
So Harvard
this
don't
is-
want to let black people in.
This
no
is
more?
no, that's not.
Harvard
Okay.
They're
wants
the
to.
defendants.
Harvard wants to.
Oh, Harvard still want to keep
Yeah.
black people.
Yes.
Well, after
They
Obama
only
went,
got one and a half
Time out.
a year.
Harvard just wants to consider somebody's race along with other factors.
okay, because
as
that's what I heard
reasons.
Ketanji Brown say.
So-
Justice Brown said, they're not just considering race people; they're considering other factors.
Exactly.
So why should they not have to consider race if they're considering other factors?
Well, let's lay the foundation of who's actually suing. These are white, Caucasian, and Asian American students who have
Asian
come
joined
to
it?
Yes, who have come together because they say, "Oh, you should be using our grades and solely our grades to get into school."
That's not fair, because we all know that there's disenfranchisement of our people. We talk
they don't
about
know how to
disparity. Hello. We talk about disparity in medical. We talk about disparity
And
in
you
school.
know-
We talk about disparity in housing.
And
We talk about disparity in insurance.
maybe your interview was bad, because I'm pretty sure if you're that intelligent to go to Harvard and you're Asian and you're white, you probably have like no personality. Like, we weren't entertained by you.
You were boring.
You were boring.
Well,
Okay, you got straight A's and you went to blah blah blah. Well, this person got straight A's and they went to blah and they black and they got a little swag.
Yes.
We need a little swag at this school.
well, that's what they said. Who ain't swag?
Who is sweat?
Yeah,
If I ain't sweat.
exactly. So they needed a little bit of
I
swag.
got time today.
They needed a
The
little
swag
bit of
need
swag.
all the players they can get.
Yes,
'Cause
absolutely.
That's I was in the swag.
Oh, you were in the swag.
Yeah, and they need all the players. They don't need none of their players to go to any of these white schools.
Wow. Can we stay
Send them
here?
all to the
Back
HBCUs.
Back to
That's
the
what it's
topic.
called. The Southwest. The
Southwest,
Southwestern.
yes.
Yeah.
I know athletic conference.
Okay.
They were close. They almost got where Southwest was.
It's like
Not the airline.
we on the West. I guess it's just like
No, it's-
Michigan being in the Midwest. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's
Okay.
Whoa. You went to school in Michigan and it was swag?
no, what I'm saying is Michigan is considered the Midwest.
Yeah, it's Midwest.
But like, hello, we're like we should be like the Mid East.
Well, I think what I think
The Midwest.
swag-
How about that West?
Yeah.
I think swag was created. Okay, no, I think I might be lying. Before any like black institutions west were created,
Oh, okay.
if I'm making sense.
Yeah, because I get what you're saying.
So it's like-
how when they discovered Michigan, it was probably considered the West, and then as they furthered the line, it became the Midwest, and they
Yeah.
just stuck with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get what you're saying.
But I say affirmative action is needed in education.
Oh, you don't think segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever?
Well, what I think and what should happen is two different things.
So let me tell you the excuse the schools are saying. So the schools are saying, just like you were essentially saying, that we need a little more swagger in these hallways because what we're going to do is just bounce the same ideas off each other and things.
Right, because they're saying diversity helps. It causes people to think more
No,
broadly.
they're not saying that because Clarence Thomas said, "Well, what is diversity?"
Well,
he
the
wouldn't know.
The schools are saying that, but Clarence Thomas,
You
yes,
are the definition.
He does not know
He
diversity
literally
because he's
is.
never seen a mirror.
he is literally the definition of diversity. And I'm
He's
telling
never
you,
seen a mirror, man.
Well,
What are you
is he
talking
though?
about?
Because if you're not coming
he's
from
from
the
Georgia,
black
rural
experience-
Georgia.
Well, he could. I don't mean nothing.
No, I'm telling you where his hate came from. And he hate everybody. He hate his rural town.
Well, you
in
know,
Georgia.
self-hate is an existence thing.
Well, he
Has
don't necessarily
Self-hate.
only hate himself. He said, "Why stop there?"
Well, I mean,
Self-hate.
He could be like old boy on Dave Chappelle, where he just
Yeah, Dave Chappelle has a skit, and I
Yeah,
think
he
it might be
thinks he's white.
based off of him.
No, because he actually believes what he don't like nobody.
Oh, okay.
He don't like no rights. He came in here. What rights you want?
None
It's
of
not
them.
in the Constitution. Go away.
Wow.
They didn't specifically say it.
I wonder if he should have rights.
he don't want his own.
I'm telling you, if he could take away his own, he would.
You know, if they start sending away these intellectual, intelligent blacks, maybe they can form their own universities.
They could.
Maybe
could.
those white liberals who are like so for diversity could help them start their own college and help them do the things that they need to do to build the community. Sometimes if people just don't want you, just start your own thing.
That's a good idea. Nothing like rejection to create perfection.
I'm just saying. Sometimes stop trying to be down with the Joneses.
Be yourself.
And just be down
Do
with
it
the
yourself.
Johnsons.
What you say? Smoke by myself. There is an episode where you sang that song.
You know.
She don't do that no more, First Lady.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
She's
reformed.
joined the church.
She's reformed.
Actually,
First lady.
I just stopped.
Last
I
week.
never really- I never.
Last Sunday.
I never told it. I never told. You know. What I'm
Last
saying?
Sunday.
Never.
Just stopped
smoked,
last Sunday.
But I did stop taking those jealous.
All I do is eat gummy bears. They're nice.
Gummies.
It's
Little
Haribo.
jealous.
Is it Haribo?
Harry
Or
High.
Harry Bowl?
No, it's Harry High.
Sometimes I just think that it's just like, stop trying to go into the communities that don't want you. Start your own community.
What happens
I was watching
when
that
the-
movie, Them. Did y'all see Them?
I haven't seen it.
It's
Is it
on,
good?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Is it good?
I
Yeah.
don't think it's good.
Okay.
You saw it?
If the
Yes.
community that don't want you coming to your
No,
community.
No, they can't.
I don't care about
You
that
can't. You can't come in.
point. What? All right. Well, once again.
No, if we're creating
No,
our own
I-
Wakanda, you can't come in.
No, I have a better
Should be an
question.
application.
It's an application. Yeah.
Better
and
question.
we'll decide if affirmative action will be
Yeah.
used.
How about just a little bit of
What?
discrimination?
Yes.
What is it?
Hey.
What
hey.
is the-
Our Wakanda shall have discrimination.
What is?
We should buy one of
What
the
do
poor
you do?
cities.
Oh,
Wait, hold on. We should buy one of those poor cities
And
in
make
like
it a Wakanda?
Georgia. Yeah, like
Nothing
one
but
of them
poor
real,
people.
real poor ones where they need the money. Like,
And just teach
give
'em.
me 100,000 and y'all can have it. Now, what you were saying, sir?
what happens when they want you?
Who?
Who?
When you said that when a community doesn't want you,
Right.
go and create your own. What happens when they want you?
You gotta get to a place where he's like,
No,
Self-esteem.
No,
It's
no.
esteem of
good.
yourself.
No, no, no.
good, I'm good.
No, that's not the point. They want to be around you and to share in your culture and this and to uplift you and also.
Okay, so we'll
So they
change the
can
rules.
still
We'll change the rules.
take and
No,
pillage.
you can't
No,
generalize.
we'll take
we're talking
applications.
about
Take applications.
no, but I'm saying
We can only have so many come in at
Yes.
a time.
And no cameras.
No cameras.
You know, you go to a concert or you go to a comedy show and they take your phones.
How many?
You gotta lock your
properties-
phones in the locker.
How many properties can you own before you can discriminate? Like how many like if
How many
I-
acres?
Right.
How many acres?
How many acres do I have to own? Like if I don't get government funding, right? I can just discriminate, right?
Well,
Is that how it works?
can't
No, because
social
you
clubs
lease the land
discriminate?
from the government.
Listen,
How do we? I thought you owned
What?
the land from the
No,
government.
you pay a tax for that land.
Let me
That's
tell you something.
owning the government.
aren't there clubs that don't allow certain races?
No,
They stop that.
Not on paper.
Oh, you're right.
It's not on paper.
Can't say it out loud.
You can't say that out loud.
and that's all you've done.
Said it out loud. But I guess okay. So look. So,
Hey, this is
if the
edutainment.
government- Wait, I have a question. If we're only paying the government, we're on private property. We're only paying the government, but the government is not like paving our roads and stuff like that.
You're still under government.
But we're not providing government housing.
You're still under the government.
And I'm
Why are you under the government?
yeah.
Ask
your
Disney,
property tax?
Ask Disney World.
No, Disney wasn't paying any property tax.
Ask Disney World why. you're
Disney
still
World
under the
had an
government.
exemption, and they were
But
not
they were
paying.
hiring employees.
Who gave them an exemption?
But they
Right.
were hiring employees.
No,
But-
no, no.
but
who
here's the
gave
thing.
them an exemption?
No, they have the exemption.
Okay.
There's
From
consideration,
who?
though. There is consideration. Let's not play the game.
Yeah, I understand.
There's a contract, and there's an offer, an acceptance,
Yes.
and consideration.
Okay.
Between Disney and the government.
Okay, thank
and
you.
when that relationship ended,
Yes.
Disney no longer was going to get the consideration for the jobs.
Thank you.
Okay.
At the end of
so
the day-
Disney says, "I'll hire who the hell I want to hire if you're not going to give us free services."
No, that's not
We'll
how it
take care of
works.
it ourselves.
'Cause
That's what the government did.
I'm trying to figure out how we can come up with a community where the government can't involve themselves.
it's called. You have to go
to Africa.
into an unexplored land, probably space. Go to the moon.
Whatever happened to an
And you
island?
can probably go. Go to
What
the
about
moon,
an island?
and you can find a space there.
Tyler
You could
Perry
call
has
it-
an island.
I just want to, but look, if maybe we don't tell everybody.
Yeah. Keep it secret.
Yeah.
Secret island.
How do you gain citizenship
We got to get some
if it's not there?
through the Underground Railroad. You see, ain't nobody know about that.
Yes, they did.
The only the if you know, those who know won't
Look,
tell, and those who
Some
tell
people thought it
won't
was a
know.
real. Look, some people thought it was a real railroad.
Yeah.
Right.
The same
of the
black
blacks.
people who are riding on it.
Right.
What are you talking about? Where the train at?
Those who know won't tell, and those who tell
Won't know. I agree. We got it.
Somebody-
We got it.
You
And I'm
haven't
not
solved
saying that you're
anything.
not going to accept other cultures
No,
or races.
I understand that.
but
I'm saying you haven't escaped the issue.
I'm
that
just
you're
saying, like, if I
wanting.
own all these houses, right?
Yes.
Why I can't give them away to whoever I want to?
You can.
Right.
Yes.
You can do
And
that.
if
As
you
long
want,
as it's
and
not
it
based on-
requires a donation.
What is?
It
in
a
order
membership.
in order
It's
to
a
keep
membership.
Where- all right.
a membership.
Question number one: Where
membership.
is this hypothetical plot of
Let's
land?
just say it's in Georgia.
Okay.
So
all
I
right.
buy-
Wait, can I stop there?
Go ahead.
I still have many more questions.
Okay.
Let me get to my
How many
list.
acres is it?
Let me get to my list.
You want to know how large
Is
is it?
Georgia still within the realm of the United States of America?
Okay, but follow me through my thought
Oh,
process.
no, I just have another question.
Yes, it's still there.
Okay.
Not Georgia in the European country, because you know I ain't trying to go there. What I'm saying
Maybe
is,
you should.
It's too cold and no.
It's too cold.
And it's probably
So-
be Russia in 10 years if Trump gets
Well, there
back
it
in
is.
office.
So let's say I got 40 acres and a couple of mules, you know, maybe a little bit more, 400 acres, right? And I got property. I built houses. I paid for, built houses. Paid
No
for-
government money.
No government money. All out of pocket.
Are you still paying taxes on all that land?
I own it. Why would I pay you taxes?
Because you pay
No,
taxes.
you're not running any pipelines in my yard. I got my own water.
No, you
I got my
wells.
own.
You're not-
I got my own
You're
septic
still-
tank.
How
You
did
still
it,
pay
I thought
I
you
don't
paid
need-
taxes for the land
services,
for
for
government
services.
right.
It's more than just services.
Yeah, the schools.
No,
we know
you-
what it's going
You
to.
pay your services for something else, but you are paying taxes no matter what on property, unless you are creating a certain amount of jobs. And there's loopholes. But
All
on
right,
the
but
end
what
of
am
the
I?
day-
What if I'm creating a certain amount of jobs in the community?
Okay.
And those jobs are like paving the roads and maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Keeping it maintained.
Just keeping it maintained.
Okay.
Self-contained.
Self-containment.
Okay.
But they're all contractors. They're all 1099s. That's all I have
No
to say.
W-2s
No
here.
W-2s.
You've already.
Everybody's
all right,
1099.
All right. Continue.
Everybody's 1099.
Are they bidding?
Are they who?
No bidding. These
Okay.
are the positions, and everybody that I
How much are they working? Do they get to choose their days
they
off?
can choose it's 1099.
Are they bringing their own work or are they bringing their
They're
own materials?
responsible for their own supply. You keep
Okay.
the job, and the house comes with the job, and you keep it as long as you do your job.
Right.
If you
That
don't
doesn't-
do your job, you
That
don't.
doesn't sound like freedom.
Free housing.
No, it's freedom
free
because
housing.
you're free.
It's
to-
a contract.
It's a contract.
It's
and
an
you're
offer and
free.
acceptance
So
and
if your job-
consideration.
if you're a preacher and you want to be the preacher,
Mm-hmm.
then you can preach. You got your free house. If you want to be the
That,
doctor,
they used to do that.
if you want to be the doctor,
Okay.
you can doctor it up. There's your free house. If you want to be the construction worker, these are jobs that you want to do.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
1099, everybody.
All right. When the pipes are done, does the pipe man leave now?
The pipe man they don't have to stay on the property. There's just a place for
No,
them
I'm
to
just
stay.
I'm just asking. Like,
It's a
if the
house.
pipe
They
man-
live there.
If the pipe man work is done, he laid all the pipes in his neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Is he kicked out?
He
No,
can
because
maintain
he
the
get-
pipes. He could
he
go
gotta
pick another
maintain.
job.
So
he can pick
there's a
another
schedule.
job.
Okay.
There's a schedule.
There's a schedule to maintain underground pipes.
No,
There's a-
we don't have a schedule.
plumber.
He just keeps up with the pipes.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Keep
He
up
said-
pipe
Keep up with
keeper.
the
What do you
pipes.
do?
the-
You just
the
check if
keeper
the
of the
pipes are
pipes.
still there.
That's right.
You're the pipe keeper.
It's here. It's here.
What if we have like
I
the
laid it
At
here.
least
well?
he ain't a Pied Piper.
He might have more than one. He might have more than one. You know, he might be the plumber as well.
Okay.
That's right. He can
All right.
pick what he wants.
can do the plumbing.
When he get
Okay.
tired of watching the pipes,
Right.
Someone assaults somebody. What are you doing?
hey, we police
We
it.
have guards.
We don't need.
You
Yeah,
have
we don't.
guards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, who are guards?
You want to be a guard? You can be a guard. You
Who
get a
has
house.
be the
who
guard.
has the authority to be a guard? Who gives them the authority to be guards?
We vote them in.
You vote them in.
Yes.
Okay.
So the community
How-
votes them in.
Correct.
So it sounds like
Uh-huh.
just based on your general, but who? Although they're voted in, who gives them authority on policing?
The community.
Okay. It sounds like you've just made a city. Welcome to Tucker. So I don't know what you're trying to tell me.
But
'Cause
how?
you're still
We,
there.
the people,
But what I'm saying is that
will actually really be the people.
what I'm saying is that if I'm not using government funding,
No,
Why can't you
but
do
you're
what you wanna do with your own
but you're
property?
still
right?
a
This is
city.
my property.
You're still a city.
I know, but this is my property.
But
Like we don't, this is my property. How can the government tell
because
me
the
what I
government
can have
is
on
in
my
charge
property?
of all the territories and the jurisdiction that they put that in the Constitution. They said that all the territories were for.
But they can't even come on my land without a warrant.
yeah, that's out of kindness. Because the
I
Constitution
understand
said
that. I get that because but if you can, if the Constitution gives you jurisdiction or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yes.
there's still rules.
There are.
that fall in the Constitution,
Yes.
and in the Constitution, you can't
Okay.
come on my land without my permission.
Tell that to Waco.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Like, I get that if we're out here molesting kids,
No. You don't actually have to be.
Oh, they just had to think I am?
okay,
Wow.
I understand it. But if I'm not on their radar,
So what he's really saying
All right.
is,
all right.
Diva,
Let me understand this.
that
Let me understand this.
you're a prisoner
Wait, let me understand
of the
this.
United
Wait,
States.
time out.
And you don't realize
Yes.
that them shackles ain't off your
Wait,
feet so
time
you
out.
can dance.
Time out. I want you to be.
You
I
got
want
to
you
praise him
understand
in the
this.
shackles.
You're a
Okay?
prisoner to this planet. You're a prisoner to the
this
solar
country.
system. You're a prisoner to
this
this
country.
galaxy. You're a prisoner to this universe. Welcome to life.
So you wanna
Darkness,
escape?
everybody.
I'm just
Darkness.
trying
wanna
to see
escape?
how can they tell me who can live on my land?
Because they gave themselves the authority.
When did they? But what I'm saying is that if it's my if
All
I
right.
have a guest house and I don't want,
No, but what are you trying? I'm trying to understand what you're
Yeah, the governor can't come in my house talking about his sister getting
stay
stayed.
here. Like,
No,
how do
no.
you-
No
when
one's
do we
gonna.
get to a place
Look,
where
You're trying to say between.
I'm needing
you
the
being
government to understand that that's not going to
Okay.
happen.
not gonna happen?
They're going to come to you and say, well, they've got, remember, they still have statutes, right, that govern these rules. So if they come up and say, all right, you hiring all these people at 1099s, right, we have a specific rule here that says that you have to make sure that at least 50%, 25%, 15, whatever is diverse or has this. That's how they can come and say,
But this is not a business.
but it is
Yeah.
a business.
Yeah,
It's
I'm not
not.
selling nothing
Because
to
I'm
the
not
government.
selling- I'm not
and I'm
offering
not
no
buying
money.
anything from the
I'm
government.
not buying.
You've
I'm not selling
interacted with
anything.
someone in a 1099
But the
contractually.
but okay, I said 1099. But what if it's
Make
just
it a
contract?
$12.99.
What if it's just a contract for? It's a barter contract. I'm bartering, not necessarily paying. So here's my
No money
land.
exchanged.
No money exchange.
Yeah.
Here's my land.
Labor for labor.
Labor for labor. I provide you housing. You provide service to build the community.
Okay. All right. Great. Utopia. What happens to the person who says, you are actually abusing my services and you're not providing me enough on this land?
Wait. Providing you enough housing?
More than housing.
Then
I
you
need
can sleep
food and-
outside.
But we come to with a contract. You provide. This is what I want. I want a schedule of everything you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And then I offer you this house. You get medical services, this service, because we're implanting people to do these things. If you want to do it, then we be on the same page. Boom.
Sounds like a sign up. Where do I sign? I want to live on her
And
land
then we get a lawyer to fight for us when we got to go
to
against the
leave us
government.
alone.
Because that's what they did at Keith
Texas.
Sweet.
Is it Texas?
I think so. Where the lawyers had so much money that they was like, the government was like, we can't mess with you. We can't even mess with you.
They got a fence around that piece of land. Stay off.
Have you been stumped yet?
No,
Second.
no, I just,
No, I'm not being funny. Like,
no, I'm not being funny either. I'm just saying like,
what if it is
always,
a barter system? They're not employees. It's a barter system. How do you get on that?
I would have to let me feign ignorance. I'd have to know how the United States would handle barters, because right now it's under a contract, and they'd probably see it as a contractual system.
But it's
and
like,
they'd still
if it-
hold
if-
you as a
But
contract.
if no money is exchanged.
no
money
money's
doesn't have to
exchanged.
necessarily be exchanged.
what
to
if
be a
the-
contract.
Yeah, but I don't see how they if they can't say there is an exchange, some type of exchange that I'm using other than my labor. You can't stop somebody from that would be slavery. Like
I'm
how
sorry,
do you
what?
stop that person from saying I'm gonna lay pipes to live there for free? It's her land, it's her house. I'm gonna lay
no.
pipes
I'm
to
saying
live
it
there.
would be inspected, and this is what I'm saying.
You don't need to inspect me. We're good.
No, you're not.
We don't need anything from you.
No, you're not understanding. I'm saying it's going to be looked at as a contract, as a contractual agreement, and that's how it would
right.
look
If we
like
have
in
a
law.
civil dispute,
Exactly. So what I'm saying is how the government would look at you as an owner of that property and trading housing for services, something that they would do on a small scale. But you're talking about something way larger, right? The government has rules on fire
Maybe like a
departments.
subdivision.
Right? The government has rules on fire departments, how a fire department works, how you were trained to be a firefighter, how all this stuff.
Yeah,
should
but if
be
you're not
certified.
asking them for any of their services,
Right.
No,
I
but
don't want you to put out
they
no
can
fire
say
here.
fine,
We got plenty of
but
hoses.
they still see a risk in that, and they say in order for you to do that on your own, you've got to meet these standards.
No, I ain't got to meet nothing.
Yes, you do.
When I burn down, I burn down.
No, when you burn down, you can burn up the whole fucking state.
No, I'm not burning up the state
No,
because
you
I've got
don't- no,
3 trillion
That's
acres.
what you're saying. But
So
you don't have
leave
3
me
trillion because the
alone.
government, Georgia, ain't giving you 3 trillion acres.
Ain't that the whole Georgia?
So that's what
We're
I'm
just
trying
gonna
to say.
give you Georgia, ma'am.
There's
They didn't even want to give it to Stacey.
there's a
She about to go to California.
Oh, we got the trends.
She about to go to California.
no, but
Not
that's
Not good.
That's
Oh my
that's all I'm
God.
saying. All I'm saying is the government will give you some of those trade-offs, but the trade-off is with contingencies because they're still a government and they have rights that they've written into their constitution to ensure
Stay off my land.
the safety of the public. If your land is too big and you don't
What
have
if I
certain
have-
safety,
What if I
that's
what if
it.
I have those safeties? Like I do have a fire.
If you meet
Correct.
those
Fire
things,
department.
Correct.
there's it
Leave me
makes
alone.
it-
We're good.
It makes it more difficult to interact.
Of
and have
course, we
those
got hoses, we got doctors, we got lawyers, we got our own
well,
system,
see,
and
the
we do it
government don't
all
care
on
about all the
barter.
hose you got.
We don't do it on your
We
greenback.
got all these hoes.
They care about how many hoes you got. They care about it not burning up the whole state.
My hose ain't gonna burn up the state. Okay, we got
I
plenty
don't
of
know.
Wait,
hoes.
we just put
They
like
got
a
dry
dome.
legs.
Yeah, we got plenty of hoes
Just put a whole dome over it.
up
They
here,
got dry-
and we can put out
They
our
not
fires
gonna allow that.
with our
Why
hose.
we can't put a dome over it?
Because you don't control only certain above your house.
Oh.
I control all above
You
my
can't
house.
control all
Do
above
not
your
fly
house.
over here.
airspace.
This is Cuba.
You
Do
don't-
not fly over here.
You
This is a
can't.
no-fly
You're
zone.
You're
How
a
high do you,
citizen
how
of the United
high
States.
how high can you
I think it
I had
depends
a
on city
secession.
ordinance.
I had a secession. I am not part of your state.
what if we do
Nah.
the
Thanks
the-
for becoming a sovereign
what
citizen.
if
You want to
we
take an
do
Article
it
3 court?
underground
You don't
and
own.
put the dome.
Ha ha. Figured it
Put
out.
the dome where? Because you don't own.
We buy the land and create the town underground.
Good idea.
You don't own. There's a certain amount under the land.
Oh, get out of here.
You just
You're
making
just
it
coming
up
up
as
with
you go.
stuff.
You making it up
I'm
as you
just
go.
telling you what it is. As a former
He just wants to be
coal
a part on
mining
island.
student, you don't
He just
own
want to
it.
be on our
You
land.
don't own. So underground, you don't own.
You don't
just-
own none of the coal
Listen
under
to me.
there.
He just want to be on our land.
Oh,
and we're
so
not
if you
letting him.
so what happens when you hit oil? Don't you
Now
get to,
you own that because it's high enough. Oil presents itself. If it peaks, you own all the oil underneath that ground.
Well, let's ask this question. How many of the abortions do you think Herschel Walker owns?
Across the country, all his because he owned a lot apparently.
Listeners, we've got a second anonymous woman that's coming forward to accuse Herschel
why
Walker,
she gotta be? I just
the
don't,
Senate candidate,
I don't
of
understand.
paying for an abortion.
I don't understand.
Let me tell you
it
something.
don't need to be no other woman that she could come with the half aborted baby.
and
Okay?
it doesn't matter to
And
some
it
people.
doesn't matter.
It
Why
doesn't.
why y'all acting like it matters?
It really doesn't.
It
really
doesn't matter.
There are people that's going to vote for him.
They gonna
no matter
vote for him regardless.
because they're on a mission.
Listen, if the Democrats had the same exact person and they're like, do I want to vote for the Republican who's smart or do I want to vote for the dim-witted Democrat who's going to do exactly what I want him to do and give me my abortions, give me my affirmative action, give me my welfare,
Well, the issue is there.
then I'm going to go with the person who's going to just
Give me
check
what
the
I
list.
want. Give me what I want. Give me what I
When
want.
we as people realize that it does not matter, it's not going to change the hearts and minds of people. She can come. She can pop her legs open.
She
She could get pregnant yesterday
and have abortion today.
And to get abortion
But
today. And
you're
he's not
saying the
going to
aim
change
is to
anything.
change the minds. What if it's just to motivate?
Motivate what?
Motivate the same people who gonna vote for him anyways.
Well, here's the thing. There are people who would not. No, what I'm saying is there are people.
Or are you talking about undecided? People on the fence.
No.
There ain't
People
no
who
such
would
thing.
vote for, Reverend Warnock.
Right.
are like, oh, I really got to go today because I'm out here.
Well, I mean, if you're just gonna go today or tomorrow, you're still going. It's the same person.
No. But you're playing that a little too easy.
Honestly,
you're playing that a little too easy.
So you're gonna make sure you vote.
Yes, exactly.
Well, Reverend Warnock just said that you should possibly have the ability. Herschel said, "Here you go, the money." So wouldn't you want to go with Herschel?
Yeah.
Because he really wants you to get an abortion because he got a few of them himself.
He paid for them.
He pays for them. He might pay for yours.
Oh my God.
I don't understand.
I've told you what I've told you what the thing is. I'm motivating someone who is going to go on November 8th and then may not have gone
And say, I'm an early vote. I can't even
I
play.
Forgot. And they'll go early and be like, I'm
really
going
I
early.
got to go early.
That the issue that's going to drive people out
No.
Let me just say this.
No, I understand.
I ran out of gas the other day. Okay.
Well, first of all,
And
that's
guess
your
what?
irresponsibility.
That's true. Gas prices high as hell.
Yes, they are.
Guess what?
But you could still fill that tank with all that money you make.
Guess
with
what?
partial of the gas.
Guess
you only
what?
need this much.
I would rather
Keep
have
going.
a partial tank than a partial abortion.
That's great. Keep that energy. What I'm saying is,
Coconuts.
Dumb as hell, right? Now, listen. What I'm saying is that people are not gonna be like, you know what?
But
you know what?
I'm not voting for
Abortion.
him.
What?
See,
Abortion
He
number
paid.
6?
He
You're
paid
looking
for
at-
two.
2 abortions?
You're looking at it wrong.
First of all, I
I'm
don't
on my
believe
way.
it.
You're
I
looking
don't
at
believe
on my
it.
way.
You're looking at it wrong.
I'm on my way.
You're looking at it in the singularity.
Oh, okay.
And it's not the singularity
the
of
group.
it. It's the piling up of
Of the shit.
he ain't smart. He really ain't smart. He flashing badges that ain't real badges.
Paw Patrol.
He
Paw
over-
Patrol.
It was a real bad.
Paw Patrol.
According to the
Hey.
to the
According to
county.
who? Him?
The county, no,
According to him.
the county sheriff said
He said
it
it's
was.
honorary.
Look.
Honorary ain't real.
Look at
Oh, so you got an honorary.
You got an honorary
degree?
doctorate?
Yeah.
You got an honorary.
Well, they call him Dr. Cosby.
Hey, but you're not a doctor.
You
But
remember, you remember when you were a kid and you went to go fly on the plane and they took you to the captain's quarters and the captain gave you a little honorary badge. You're captain of the plane. Yeah, get out the seat, captain. So
He got the same badge, the little boy.
All I'm saying is that on election day, the woman can pop her legs out, take the Plan B,
No,
and have the doctor.
again,
and the check
you're
could
not-
be
At the polls.
right, and the check could be this big,
And it doesn't matter.
And it does
And I'm
not
telling you,
And he
matter.
can say it's my $700 check.
exactly.
I'm telling you that it's not.
I got,
the
and if she a
individual.
black woman, that was for her weave.
No, she lied.
It's not the individual aspect. It's the piling.
All
Once
right.
you've had enough and the haystack is there, you go vote. That's all they're saying.
But my thing is that the piling of, all right, I don't care. They don't like him. Nobody likes him. Nobody thinks he's great. Nobody. There's
There's a user.
I understand.
We're just using
They're
them.
No. I
Just-
understand
but guess
that.
what? But that's what they're knowing. That's what they're knowing. Like,
No, but listen, they still. All right, you got to be honest with yourself. They still got a line. That's still a black man
No, they don't
with
have no
power.
line. They don't.
That's still a black
But
man with
it's-
power.
but
The,
it's-
the line is always black man.
but it's
No,
two.
they don't have
the
a
line is
But
always
it's-
black
They
man.
don't
'Cause
have
they're
a
gonna
line.
control him.
It's two. It's not like it's a white man and a black man. It's two black men.
Yeah.
One is a Republican who, like old boy said,
Listen.
is gonna. He's been told what to
Listen.
do all his life.
Yeah.
He gonna still go with what the white man. So it might as well be a white man.
We've
in there.
already seen this work, and the example is even better because it was a white woman. Black man,
Nobody-
white
no,
woman.
no.
White man ain't coming for no white woman. All right,
No,
I'll buy
hello.
it. I'll see y'all later.
when the black man got to be able to vote before the white woman, and we had that whole thing with Susan B. Anthony and her crew. Those feminists was like, I don't know if it was Susan B. Anthony, but it was her little feminist group who said that, if anybody should vote before the Negro, it should be the white woman. It shouldn't be the Negro. The Negro is not as intelligent as the white woman. And she's in charge of the feminist movement. And that is why Ida B. Jones was like, ain't I woman? But you telling me that I shouldn't be able to vote because I'm a Negro. And that's why Ain't I Woman came out. So the black man got the chance to vote before the white woman. They don't care about the white woman. They want her to be a damsel in distress. They want her to be barefooted and pregnant and sit her ass at the house. That's what they want.
And walk your dog in the park and
walk
call the
they
police.
don't mind it. They don't
And
care
they
if the
want
black
Herschel.
They don't care if the black woman is out there working.
And they want
They don't care
Herschel.
about that.
No problem.
They want Herschel to dive right and dive left.
Yeah.
Not do
Vote
anything
right.
else. They,
Vote right.
They don't.
And then when
They
you
don't want
Vote
nothing
right,
else.
don't vote left.
listen,
That's
they
it.
they can't control a billionaire white woman. They know she a Karen.
Yeah.
They can't control her, but they can control Herschel.
Yeah, it's easier to control him.
It's easier to
Yeah,
control
it is.
Herschel. You just said
Karen
go
was
left,
there
go
voting
right.
for all Trump stuff.
She was gonna
and
have-
saying
no, but she
radical,
was still gonna
Warnock.
have-
She a billionaire.
She was
Yeah,
still
she had
saying
When
money.
you got that money, you can Karenize the whole situation.
She has money.
and
And she
don't
don't
know-
have to listen.
She didn't
Right, she don't have
separate
to
herself
listen.
from Trump. Purdue got further from Trump than she did.
I don't know.
But she was.
You're
she
not
was.
remembering the race.
What I'm
Well,
saying
look,
is that
Purdue
she was
is like,
looking for that
I
vote, but
don't
they
know if
don't
it's a
want
robbery.
her because they don't want no woman telling them what to do.
And
But
they
they'll
don't-
take
they
a black
damn
man
sure don't want
with
no black
no
man.
sense
A puppet.
and
A
tell
puppet.
him what to do.
That's true.
But this white woman goes
It's
like, I'm
harder to tell a
billionaire.
white woman what to do that's wealthy than it
Exactly.
is to tell a black man that's
It's
dumb.
hard to tell a white woman what to do that thinks she right.
That white woman, wealthy, right, unwealthy, think she right.
Unless
Still
he's a black
voted.
man and the black man be like,
Still
you
voted.
you just so sweet. You don't tell me what to do like that black woman. And now she be like, yes, I do. And he's like, no, you don't. You say it's so sweet. Like, babe, can you, here's a list. Whereas we like, why you just didn't do it? Why I got to tell you?
To
They
go
just
to the
like her
grocery store.
delivery. That's what it is.
Is that what
they
it
like
is?
the delivery. She
Package
she
it like
speaks
the Little
this.
Mermaid.
She speaks like this. She speaks sweetly. Where I'm like, damn, like I shouldn't have to tell you. Like I shouldn't have to tell you how to be a man. Like why am I taking out the trash? You the man. And then you telling me I'm acting like a man, but somebody gotta be the nigga in the situation. Edit that N word out.
Hello.
That is staying in there.
Why?
I'm marking
And that's
it. I'm marking it to
episode
stay in there.
59 because I can't top that.
Are we finished?
We done.
Oh, we're done.
Look, we're going to be cheers and look. Cheers.
I gotta
Look.
down the hatch. Stop rubbing your face.
All right,
You
listeners.
act like you just disgusted.
Are you not thirsty? You look
good.
thirsty. I'm worried about you. That's why I'm rubbing my face. You might need to drink some more.
we,
You sure you don't need
look,
nothing more?
this is the first time.
You usually empty. You not finished? You usually
We're done.
gulping it down.
We're
What
done.
I
happened?
said, are
We're
you
finished
done or
and we're done.
finished?
I don't know. She
Look,
didn't even finish half
We're
her
finished
drink yet.
and we're done.
Come on now. You know you can do half your drink.
I'm good. Let's wrap this up.
Please look for our episodes every Wednesday. Subscribe. Find us on Spotify,
Spotify,
Apple Podcasts,
Apple,
and Google Podcast.
Google us.
And be sure to catch our videos every week on YouTube.
Say your prayers for the Democratic Party because their
Yes,
funeral
First Lady
is
Church,
coming.
sister of the Aristotle, Doncastople, First at AME Church, says,
Say your prayers.
say your prayers, because she is in funeral garb, burying democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's this episode 59
Yes,
on
sir.
Diva Court. And as we say when we close the show, we'll drink to that. We got to drink to that.